Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Stefanie Arcangelo from the American Red Cross from Connecticut. Stephanie, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
It has. It's been a bit.
It has been. So what's new with the Red Cross? What have you guys been up to since the pandemic hit?
Well, we've been doing a lot of different things. Obviously, the need for blood is constant. And so we've been out there collecting life-saving blood. We've also continued to respond to home fires, just in a slightly different way than we normally have. And we've also been out there helping to support and say thank you to some of our frontline workers as well, and preparing for hurricane season, which just started on June 1st. And it's already looking like it's going to be a busy season this year.
Absolutely. So what exactly do you guys do during hurricane season? What's that entail?
So, the Red Cross responds to hurricanes nationally across the country, and all of our responses start locally. And so to prepare, we're always working with local town emergency management to figure out where we're going to set up our regional shelters, as well as working with community partners so that we're able to feed folks who do come to the shelters. This year, the environment looks a little bit differently. Obviously, congregate shelters can be very risky right now with COVID-19. And so the Red Cross has been working across the country and with partners to make sure that we have additional safety procedures in place. And so you have to have, you're still going to have some congregate shelters in some areas, but trying to focus on, smaller options to make sure that there's larger distances between each of the cots, as well as hoteling and other options. And so it's a really different type of environment, but we're seeing it being tested right now with Cristobal, hitting through Louisiana and up through that part of the country. Hopefully there won't be a lot of damage or a lot of flooding, but there are shelters open for those folks in the event that they do need to evacuate. So we're learning every single day.
Exactly. And I saw something on the news the other day that they were talking about hurricane season, and hopefully it's going to be a quiet hurricane season this year, but we don't know.
No, right now the projections are that unfortunately it's not. And as you know, we've talked about this before, it only takes one big storm to hit. It doesn't matter how many you have. If none of them hit, then you really think that nothing happened. But having more storms likely, which is what is projected this season, means that there is more possibility that a large hurricane will hit the United States. And so we are planning for that. And it's a stressful time with COVID-19 and everything going on, but the Red Cross is prepared, and we want to make sure that people know that they will have a place to go. If they need to evacuate, then they need to do that. And we also want to encourage personal preparedness. So if you happen to go into your emergency preparedness kit as part of your personal COVID-19 response, when things were off the shelves and you couldn't get deliveries in and things weren't available and you didn't go out to the grocery store, now would be the time to restock your personal preparedness kit. I always say to do that at the beginning of each season. So it's hurricane season, so let's restock that emergency preparedness kit and make sure that you have additional items in that kit this year as well. And that should include face coverings, as well as hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes if you have them, and make sure that you also have that food for your pets. That's really important as well. You don't want to forget about our furry loved ones. And so make sure that you do restock that preparedness kit and make it a COVID-19 friendly kit as well.
Now, as far as I know you just mentioned some of the items you should have in your preparedness kit. Typically, generally speaking, what should a preparedness kit look like? What should it have in it?
So you should have water. You should have 1 gallon of water per person per day for up to 3 days if you're remaining at home and then to go to a shelter. So you also want to have a 2-week supply of your medication. And even right now, we're recommending up to a month. So in the event that you needed to go to a shelter, you want to have that with you. You want to have non-perishable food items, as well as, blankets, flashlights, batteries, a hand crank radio if you have one of those. And I also recommend a digital preparedness kit. So you want to make sure that you have those mobile chargers with you, have them there and ready so that when you do get to a place that you can recharge those devices, you have that at your disposal. And if you have those mobile charging devices that you could charge up in advance, you want to check those in advance of a storm and make sure you get some additional power in there so you can use them, because that's how you're going to get a lot of your information. But that's why those radios do come in handy. Also recommend in advance of a storm, making sure that you fill up your gas tank and that you do take out cash. Having deployed to Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico and not being able to have access to ATMs or be able to use credit cards, you want to make sure that you do have some cash on you so that you are able to pay for things if there's a big storm that hits.
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned at the beginning of the show the importance of blood donation. Let's circle back to blood donation and how important it is and what's going on as far as that goes.
So the need for blood is constant. Every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. And right now, actually, we have an urgent need for blood donations. Many of you may have heard about the Red Cross needing blood back in March when the pandemic was really starting. And that's because, we needed to make sure that folks would come out to give blood and that it was safe to do that. And we had to scale back on the number of blood drives that we could have, because we host a lot of blood drives at colleges and high school campuses, which were obviously closed. And so so at that point, many people came out and they rolled up their sleeves and helped to make sure that we had a sufficient blood supply. Now we're seeing hospitals open up for those elective surgeries that were postponed, and we're seeing a 30% increase in the demand for blood. And so we want to encourage healthy, eligible donors to make an appointment. Appointments are required right now. So this way we can limit the number of people at any given blood drive, and to if you're feeling well and healthy, make that appointment and then go and roll up your sleeves to help save some lives.
You guys actually had a very successful blood drive in Clinton at St. Mary's Church a couple weeks ago.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. Because really, this is what we need. We need community sponsors to provide locations for us to host the blood drives so we can have more opportunities for folks to donate blood. It's important to note that blood only has a shelf life of 42 days, and you can only donate blood every 56 days. So it's something that needs to constantly be replenished. And so we do appreciate everyone who has already made their appointments and who have already given blood. And if you are healthy and eligible to do so, we do have extra safety precautions in place. So please visit redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to make that appointment this summer.
So why can you only donate every 56 days?
So I'm not a medical doctor, but those are the FDA guidelines. And so, for your safety, that is what the requirement is. And if you're unsure if you're eligible to donate, you can visit redcrossblood.org. There's a whole section there because there's a long list of things that might have you be deferred due to medications or travel or things like that. And so it's important to check that out, or you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS if you have a specific question.
And obviously you said because of what's going on right now with the COVID, you guys are highly suggesting appointments for blood donation.
It's more than highly suggest. We are requiring appointments. Yes. And that's so as we can limit the number of people who are coming into a blood drive. So you make that appointment in advance. You have a guaranteed spot. We know how many people are coming. We are taking temperatures before people even get into the building to make sure that they don't have a temperature. And then, of course, there's additional enhanced screening, cleaning that's happening throughout the blood drive. We always had the regular regulations, but now we have enhanced the cleaning as well as spacing out the beds, so you're not necessarily right next to someone anymore. And so it looks a little bit different, but it is. I did give blood during, at the beginning of the pandemic. I'm making an appointment to give again later this month, and so it is a safe process, and I'm looking forward to being able to help as well.
And I forgot, I sort of have to ask, because last time you and I were together, we had one of our friends with us.
Is that Neil Brockway?
Mm-hmm. Is he still with the organization?
He is. He was actually very disappointed that I did not invite him to join me today. So he's very disappointed. So he is doing great. He wants to come on again. So hopefully we can set up another time to do this. He would love to come on and be on the Pete Mezzetti show again.
Oh, absolutely.
He's doing great.
Well, tell him I said to say hello.
Will do.
Tell him I said to say hi. So what else do we want to tell everybody about let's go back to hurricane season and what exactly people should do if they're in the eyes of the hurricane, but more importantly, what exactly the Red Cross does during a hurricane. And I'm sure you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, so, what the Red Cross does in a hurricane is what's known as mass care. And so what we do is we make sure that there are shelters available to take care of large number of folks. And we take care of those immediate emergency needs like a safe place to stay, cots, blankets, food, of course. And then as time goes on, there's different phases of a disaster. So you have that evacuation phase where they may tell you need to evacuate right now. And then you may be able to return to your home the next day when those orders are lifted. Other times you can't go home because there's water everywhere. And other times you might not have a home to go home to, whether that's for a hurricane or another large-scale disaster. And so you may end up in a shelter for a longer period of time. And so when you see those big disasters like your Hurricane Harveys, what you end up seeing is the Red Cross helping to facilitate and run those shelters in coordination with local emergency management, and then with the community partners. So disasters are bigger than any one organization can handle. And so we all work together with other nonprofit organizations to help make sure that the meals are being delivered, as well as helping on that road to recovery. So Red Crossers have volunteer caseworkers, as well as health services workers, and disaster mental health support. So those are trained volunteers that can help speak with the different people who've been impacted and assess what other needs that these families might have and help connect these folks with other services. Our health services workers are wonderful. They can help replace your eyeglass prescription as well as other prescription medications. We tell you to bring that 1 month or 1 week supply, but you might be there longer or you might not be able to get it. So the health services workers can help you with that. And then in addition to having those sheltering environments, we also will go out into communities and we will do feeding within the communities. So we'll bring our emergency response vehicles and we'll pack up the food and we will go out to those communities and we will feed people who are out there helping to, while they're cleaning up their homes. And we'll also distribute cleanup kits. And so those are kits that have mops, that has bleach, has gloves, has other cleaning supplies that you would need as you were trying to clean up after a flood or another type of disaster. And so the Red Cross is there to provide kind of all of those immediate services and then to help get folks and connect them with those community resources. You asked before what people can do now. Well, the first thing that anyone can do if you haven't done so already is to download the Red Cross Emergency app. It's absolutely free. You can get it in redcross.org/apps. You can go to any of the app stores. You download the app, and what you can do there is you can type in your zip code and you can have it use your location, and it will let you know of any severe weather threats in the area, as well as shelter locations. So it will tell you where there are Red Cross shelters open, and it also does alert you. So we've had that before. We've been alerted for tornado warnings, severe thunderstorms, and that will come right through on your phone if you enable the alert. So that's the first thing that folks should do right now. And you can do that now, as well as get your preparedness kit ready. And then, you definitely want to check with local emergency management to see what the guidelines are. Things are changing. I want everyone to remember that things are changing with COVID-19, sometimes by the day, and that you want to make sure that you know what your town's evacuation plan is, especially if you do live in an evacuation zone, and make sure that you are prepared to evacuate if we do get one of those storms coming up the coast.
Exactly. And as far as let's talk about evacuation zones and the obviously the proper way to evacuate.
Well, so I'm not an expert on evacuation zones, but you wanna make sure, like I said, if you need to evacuate, you need to take your stuff with you, and you
Right.
also, you want to take make sure you take your pets. If it's not safe for you to stay at home, it's not safe for your pets, and we are
Obviously.
working with pet shelter partners in this environment as well. But you want to make sure that you are heeding the advice of local emergency management. If they tell you to evacuate, then you should follow those evacuation orders, and that's really important because we want to make sure that our first responders are able, they don't have to put their lives at additional risk to help save someone who should have evacuated. So there will be a place for you to go, and you want to make sure that you are following those orders.
Now, what types of information can people find on the Red Cross website?
So you can go to redcross.org and you can find all sorts of information on how to prepare. We have everything for how to prepare for a power outage, a hurricane, a tornado, a thunderstorm, winter storms, which is what we have around here. Also, you can, share the information with your family on preparedness. And one of the things that we can share with everyone is that during the month of June, we have preparedness classes that we're offering, free virtual preparedness classes.
Sure.
They're being offered on Tuesdays and they're being offered on Thursdays. One of them is the Virtual Pillowcase Project, which is designed for children. And that is our signature children's preparedness program that we were teaching in schools. We obviously can't do that right now.
Right.
And so it teaches kids about different hazards in their areas and how to create an evacuation plan on their pillowcase. And so it's a great interactive presentation. So you can visit redcross.org/CT and you can find that under virtual preparedness presentations. And also those are on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we have a Be Red Cross Ready presentation. And so that is for more geared towards adults, but you can take that class and it will teach you about the common threats for disasters that we face in this area. Right now, primarily, it's always home fires, which is the largest disaster threat that you do face in the United States, as well as hurricanes. And so it will talk about, everything that I covered today and give you some of those practical tips that you can make sure that you're ready and that you have your family prepared, because there's a lot of things to stress about right now. And the last thing we need to be doing is worrying about what we're going to do if there's a storm. So now would be the time to prepare, make sure that you have your kit, educate your family on where you're going to go, what you're going to do, where your pets are going to go. And so this way, if we do get one of those storms, that you are prepared.
Exactly. We've got a little bit more time left. What else you want to cover?
I would just like to, first of all, I'd love to say thank you to all of our Red Cross workers who have been out there on the front lines. We've had our phlebotomists out there this entire time collecting that life-saving blood. That's so huge. We're so grateful, as well as all of our volunteers. They're out there still making sure that families who experience home fires are that they have a place to go and that they have someone to talk to help them move on that road to recovery. So that hasn't changed. In Connecticut alone, we respond to about 700 home fires every single year. So we've had to do it a little bit differently. I tell everyone we're not actually doing that Red Cross hug, but it's a virtual Red Cross hug. And as part of our response as well, I'd love to mention for COVID-19, the Red Cross launched a virtual family assistance center. And so what that is that's for folks who have lost a loved one due to COVID-19. And so you can visit redcross.org/VFAC. And from there, it will provide state-specific resources, as well as you can call a number or you could fill out a form if you have lost someone due to COVID-19. And a Red Cross disaster mental health worker will reach out to you directly. The grieving process has really been disrupted. Our normal rituals that we experience are not necessarily happening. There might not be funerals. You're not able to gather with your loved ones to say goodbye. And so our Red Cross workers can help connect you to some additional resources and be that shoulder for you to, in that ear for them to listen to as well. So I definitely would love to encourage folks who have lost anyone to COVID-19 to look up the Red Cross Virtual Family Assistance Center.
And obviously this is going to be the new normal probably for a while, the way you guys are doing things through virtual.
Absolutely. You know, we want to make sure that our workforce is safe and our volunteers and the people we serve. And so, well, we're constantly, we're nimble and flexible. You have to be flexible when you work in disaster and emergency preparedness. Things
Absolutely.
change all the time. So while this is something that, of course, on this scale, we've never really experienced before, the Red Cross is used to being nimble and flexible. So, you know, one day the guidance says this, but the next day it's changed. And so the more we know, the more we can be flexible. And we're just constantly updating our guidance and making sure that our workforce is ready. And we want to let the public know the different things that the Red Cross is doing and how they can prepare so that we can have a safe hurricane season, and that we can also have a safe rest of the year during this difficult time.
I was going to say, how regard back to blood drives for a second. Obviously, call, make the appointment, and find your local blood drive on the Red Cross website or through the app.
Yeah, so you can download the Red Cross Blood Donor app. You can call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or you can visit redcrossblood.org. You just go ahead and type in your zip code, and then the blood drive opportunities will come up near you, and you can schedule your appointment. We are encouraging donors who feel well and healthy at the time of donation to come in. If you happen to not be feeling well, you can just call to reschedule.
Now, let's say we go and we make the appointment and we show up the day of the appointment. What can people expect to see
when
they go get blood?
What people can expect to see at a blood drive during the COVID-19 environment, it's just a little bit different. So when you approach the entrance, you'll have your temperature will be taken to make sure that you don't have a temperature prior to entering the blood drive. Then you will go ahead and you will review all of the materials that are there. You will be taken, there'll be less of a wait time because there's not a lot of people waiting around, but you're going to see chairs that are spaced out, beds that are spaced out, and then you'll be taken into your health history. Your temperature will be taken again as a standard procedure protocol. You'll go through your health history form. You are encouraged to complete your rapid pass in advance. You can do that on the day of your appointment. So the morning of your appointment, you can log in and you can complete your rapid pass, which is basically a series of questions that you would have to fill out in health history. So you have all of your answers logged into the system, and then the Red Cross worker will review your answers to make sure that you're eligible and ask you any further questions. You'll do your little mini health physical, and then you'll go over to donate, and you're going to see a big room, but you're going to see less beds than you would normally see. And then the donation itself takes about 10 minutes, and then you're able to get your snack and your juice, and you can make your appointment for your next drive, and then you can go about your day.
Very cool. Very cool. It sounds like it's very easy.
It's a really easy thing to do. We know that people are a little bit hesitant right now. We know that things are opening up, but we want to encourage folks that if you are feeling well and healthy and you're eligible, it is safe for you to donate blood. So please consider making that appointment. We are taking those enhanced safety precautions, additional cleaning, as well as those temperature checks. And so if you are eligible, there is an urgent need, so please make that appointment.
Now, is there an urgent need for a specific type of blood?
No, so right now all eligible donors are encouraged. The universal blood type is O negative, and so that can be transfused into anyone who needs blood. But we do need all types right now. And when I also would like to talk about platelet donations, which you can make an appointment to donate platelets. So platelets are different than whole blood. You can do that at our Farmington Donor Center. That's where you can donate platelets specifically. You can't do that at a regular blood drive. It has to be done at the donor center. It takes a little bit longer than a regular blood donation. So it takes between 90 minutes and 2 hours, depending. And what that does is we basically are able to take out your blood, and we're able to take out the platelets specifically, and then return the red cells and the plasma back to the donor. And the platelets, they only have a shelf life of 5 days. And so that includes the testing as well. And platelets are incredibly important for people who are undergoing chemotherapy and burn victims. And platelets are a key clotting component in the blood. And so you can donate platelets 24 times per year. And so it's really a great thing to do if you have the time and ability to do that. And so you can make an appointment to donate platelets at our Farmington Donor Center.
And the only place you can go donate platelets is in Farmington?
Correct. When you donate blood, your blood is separated into 3 different components. So red cells, plasma, and platelets. And so it could take up to between 4 and 6 people to get that 1 bag of platelets that you could get from a platelet donation.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
It's really interesting. A lot of folks don't. We have a lot of dedicated platelet donors who come 24 times per year on their regular schedule, to help folks who need the platelets specifically.
And obviously, you can make an appointment to donate every couple months.
For platelets, you can make the appointment. I believe it's up to 20. It's every 2 weeks, up to 24 times per year. For whole blood, it's every 56 days.
Cool. Stefanie Arcangelo from the Red Cross, thanks for some time, and we'll see you soon.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. On behalf of Stefanie, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next time.